Okay, a very warm welcome to one and all. And today we are here for the review of the paper of UGC NET-JRF Environmental Science, which just had happened today, right? So it is the exam on 30th June, which happened on first shift. So we will be reviewing most of the questions on memory based, depending upon our curriculum, like how we have divided the units into different structures, right? Almost 14 parts we divide the units, and on the basis of that we will be doing the same. So let's, without wasting any time, let's go to the review process. So this is the agenda. Paper 2 review we are basically doing, and environmental science domain we are specialized in the same. So let's go to our main aim. So let me tell you first of all, so the thing is that the paper was, I would say that the paper was moderate to slightly difficult, right? First thing, we should accept this, that the paper was moderate to difficult as compared to last time. Like if you compare to moderate to difficult as compared to January 2026. Definitely, it was a tough paper for each and every public who was there, because a lot of faculty member of our team and other students which I have personally interacted, almost 30 plus people of our academy I interacted, and then I came to the conclusion that the paper was moderate to difficult compared to January 2026. Right. Second thing is, we are expecting a dip in the cutoff. Expected that cutoff may fall by 1 or 2%, right? For sure. Reason I will tell you. The main criteria which saying us that the paper was moderate to difficult, the criteria why we are saying that the paper was moderate to difficult, there are reasons. First of all, in the paper, it was earth science extensive, right? Mineral and rocks are full on, though we quite depth we deal the mineral and rocks at our place, but not all the public. In general, all the students of environmental science, they are found of minerals and rocks and earth sciences. So it was earth science extensive paper, right? Along with some of the questions were out of context. I will point out them, right? I think 8 to 10 questions were out of sight type. Like people have not seen such kind of questions before. So that was the area of surprise. So these two things have made a paper towards the difficulty side, because the orientation of the student in the environmental science is not towards the earth science, hardcore geology and mineralogy, but we have prepared our people best for that, right? The people are happy with the same, right? Third thing, it was a mixture of PYQ and our booklet. As far we have seen, like almost PYQ was intensive, but in the different mode. Like they have molded the PYQs, right? But those people who have the PYQ depth solutions, they will be surely getting benefited, right? So it was like a sort of PYQ themed paper, I would say, right? PYQ themed paper, but with twist. They were not direct, right? I must say that they were not direct, but the people who are having the selected solutions or so-called solutions from 2010 till 2026, because when we see the paper, it was like or interacted with the people, it was like the questions from 2011-12 era was repeated, right? Those questions were, some of the questions were very old, quite old, I would say, right? So this was the logic, right? Yeah, some of them was direct, right? Some of them was recent, like came from January 2026. Even from our solution I saw more than 12 to 15 directly questions from EIA and other things, right? From the last paper of January, and even 10 question plus from the June 2025 also, right? But these are some of the aspects which we should keep in mind, that it was a slightly inclined towards mineral and rock, geology, earth sciences, right? And some 8 to 10 question was from nowhere, which people were having no idea. So they were like adding the degree of toughness. That's why we grade this paper moderate to difficult. We are expecting a dip of 1 to 2% for sure shot, right? I'm not seeing more than last time's cutoff, either that cutoff or less than that, right? Because the paper was actually, in that sense, it was a sort of like a uncommon paper for some of the students which I saw and interacted. They are not from our institutions but from other places, and I talked to them. So let's start the review process one by one. We will be doing this review on the memory basis of the faculty team and the student which we have interacted. In case you people come across something, you can hint me into the chat box or you can raise your hand, but I will try my level best to bring out what was there, right? Though it's a memory based, so just to have an idea for the community and the other people that what was the questions. So I will start with structure of earth first, because we will be classifying the topics as per our modules, right? Not for anything else. So first we will be having structure of earth, right? Here when we see the structure of earth, we were having the pet question, the same old sibling of Elvina, right? So the same question they have asked, that what is the so-called abundance of elements in earth crust. So the one question was there over relative abundance of elements in earth crust, and it came last time also, right? Last time it was in whole earth, this time into the earth only. So this was very simple, right? Oxygen, silica, aluminium, iron, calcium, right? Sodium, then potassium, right? Then magnesium. So I guess oxygen, silicon, aluminum, iron was there, and then magnesium was there directly. So these were the choices. And this was the only question which I saw from the side of structure of earth. This was one question, right? People will agree with this. Keep giving your reviews in the chat box that this was not there or not there, and how you deal the question, and your suggestions are most welcome. The student community is always on the priority. So you will also agree that this question was there in the exam when we saw the question, right? So that was there in one of the questions there. Then as we have kept in natural hazard stuff also, but I will not include that here, right? Rather than I will go straightforward. Second, coming to the structure of atmosphere, no question was there as such, right? Structure of atmosphere was somewhat neglected this time, which is the second topic. So structure of atmosphere was neglected, no question, right? No question was asked from here this time, right? Coming to the third part, which is structure of hydrosphere, right? Structure of hydrosphere, if I will say, yeah, in fact, from structure of hydrosphere, I didn't saw any of the majority of the questions, right? To be very frank. No major question from structure of hydrosphere also, right? Then definitely when we reach to the major topics, like when we start with the water, yes. So from water we definitely saw the questions, and water and water pollution. Definitely this topic added something around 6 to 7 questions this time minimum. As per our expectation, there were 6 to 7 questions, and some of them were straightforward and some of them were a bit tricky. So if you see that the first question, if I would like to start, there was one numerical on BOD, right? Where the data was given that the 300 ml bottle was there and 200 milligram per liter is the BOD. And it's saying that the 5%, 5 mg per liter decline to the BOD, right? Though we suspect that the data was incomplete in that question and might be some review come for the same, right? Because when they were asking the percentage of the dilution, that was also somewhat dicey in the data, but we are expecting some review in the key for the same, right? After that, we also saw some of the questions we had a question on these diseases, which was like last to last time also there was a question. So we had a question on water based, right? Waterborne, water related, and water wash, right? Water related, such kind of diseases, right? Was there just a definition is being asked, right? Third question, if you talk about, we do saw some of the questions from, yes, we also saw the questions from your the passage. One passage was there, 5 question, thermal stratification, comprehension passage. Lakes were there, epilimnion, hypolimnion, thermocline was there, right? Full passage was there, thermal stratification. So directly it gave you 5 questions, right? Which was easy to do directly from the booklet if people will agree with that. It was directly from the book side, and very easy questions were given. Epilimnion, thermocline, metalimnion, right? All those things were there, right? This was there as far as the things are concerned. And I hope the people would have easily answered that. Then looking into the detergent side, we were not having anything. Yes, there was a question on heavy metals, right? We consider heavy metals and all these things into water pollution also. So we had a question on heavy metals where we have the matching type of question. Methyl mercury was there, right? Chromium 6 and chromium 3 plus was there, and that was the wrong statement where chromium 3 getting oxidized into chromium 6 plus, which they said less toxic. So that was the wrong statement. And methyl mercury was also there, right? Methyl mercury was also mentioned there. One question was from that. Then after that, we do not show any questions on cadmium, right? Or something like that, or arsenic. Chromium, we had a question on. Chromium was having question. Then came pesticides. So guys, we had a question on DDT. Let me tell you. One question was there on DDT, the property, right? Where it was asked that whether it is water soluble or fat soluble, and dichloro-diphenyl trichloroethane, and what will happen if you remove a hydrogen out there, and toxicity that it biomagnified and do eutrophication. That was a direct question. People will agree with the same. That was a direct question, right? And it was simple to deal also. Biomagnification in the case of DDT, same thing would have asked, right? Then from the, if we go to the groundwater part, right? So we saw a question on groundwater where we definitely talked about Darcy law, right? And direct numerical was there on Darcy law. People will agree with the same that a direct numerical of the Darcy law was there where simply you have to apply, right? Darcy law numerical was there. And I can say that the answer was also 0.25. And let me tell you, you just have to apply Q is equal to KA DH upon DL. And in fact, if I remember the data also, I have the exact data with me. It was like 1 unit was given in kilometer. You have to convert that into the meter. And 89 and 99 was DH and DL was some kilometers. So that way you could have easily solved it. And the correct answer here was, I guess, 0.25, something like that. Right, if I'm not wrong, after calculating each and everything. But the trick was that you have to do the H2 minus H1, which one was 88, one was 89, 99, I guess. So this was the data, 89. So 99 minus 89. So this was coming out to be 10. This was the DH. And some kilometers, DL was given. The two distance between them in the kilometers was given. K was also given, an area you could have calculated, but 1 unit for the area was given in meter, another one is in the kilometer. So we have to convert that kilometer into meter. I guess 5 kilometer was there. And then you have to convert that into the meter, which is 5,000 meter. This was the trick there. And then you will easily calculate it and it will come out. So one question was there from Darcy law. It was also there. Then coming ahead, we didn't saw much of the things. Yeah. From sewage treatment plant, we had a question in the first paper where the grit chamber was present. Right. So grit chamber is the part of primary treatment. Let me tell you, because when we are teaching the subject, we are also taking care of the first paper. So there was a question on paper 1 where we had the grit chamber, which is the part of primary. It's directly given in your booklet because you had the advantage of those environmental science question. One was the geological natural hazard, earthquake was the answer for that. And then we had where the greenhouse gases are produced. So आपका hydropower plants was the correct answer, right? We're just sharing this with the people so that people can relate that the things were up to the mark and lot of things was there from PYQ. So water and water pollution along with hydrology and pesticide, they saw some 6 to 7 question, might be 8, and we are missing out 1 and 2, but it emerged out to be a good unit this time also, quite a scoring unit, right? Coming next to the bigger unit which didn't perform up to the expectation, because last time the weightage for climate change and the climate change and the air pollution was 17 question. This time air pollution and climate change was not up to that much extent, right? Air pollution and climate change is the next unit as per our modules. So we are going the review with the as per our modules, right? So air pollution and climate change was not seen much of the questions, but some of the questions were there. Let me tell you one by one that which were there so that you can cross correlate, right? So we definitely saw one of the questions over these. Yes. So we saw one of the questions over your smoke, photochemical smoke. One question was there, I can still remember. So one question on photochemical smoke, where the first option was to be the correct only. They asked the statement, right? Photochemical smoke was one of the easy question. Then they also have a question of NO to NO2 ratio. right? So if NO to NO2 ratio was high, means NO is more, then the ozone will get destroyed more. So this was the wrong statement. There was one question over this with relation to ozone, right? Then we didn't saw much of the questions from particulate matter this time. They were entirely blank, right? Mostly nothing was there, right? Then, yeah, we also saw the question. I told you that from photochemical storm, there was a question, yes. And one question from NO2 chemistry was there, which was there, right? Then ozone was the target. One question was on ozone, right? Ozone production and third body reaction was there. Ozone production and destruction was there. One of the question, it was there where the statements were given and how it reacts with OH and how it do the jobs. Then we also saw a question from acid rain, especially, right? Yes, acid rain was having a question, right? Where they have specially asked about acid rain, where they saw the formation of other products also that what will be the product which are formed. Yeah, acid rain and the reaction of aluminium with the acid rain was also there, right? And neutralization of acid rain, how that can be done. Stability, we were having a question on plume behavior for short. So one question on the plume behavior was there where coning, fanning, fumigation, and these kind of plume was asked. So one question was there on plume behavior, guys. Right. So plume behavior, one question was there, which was very simple and repetitive in nature. Right. Before I move to the next, there was a numerical on SO2. There was a numerical on SO2 where you have to express that into the ppm, right? And it was very simple, just to confuse you people. It was given there. They have given the concentration also, and the correct answer was 0.25 ppm. The first option was the correct answer, or that SO2, because they have simply just asked the number of moles of SO2 gas divided by number of moles of air. They have given both the things, but the statements were big, and such kind of questions have been there in our solutions at TYQ also. People know it, where 200 ppm was the correct answer long back, right? Then after that, from climate change side, we didn't see much of the stuff, right? One question, if you ask me, there was a question on El Nino from the climate change side, right? El Nino was having a one question, which was there, where the statement was given and it has more or less a repetitive question, right? Right. Then after that, we do saw question from analytical methods were there, which is like, first let me finish this unit. If anything from the, yeah, from the climate change side, the order of the greenhouse gases, where two questions were there. The order of the greenhouse gases, the same repeated question where all the four gases was given. Number one is given to CO2, followed by methane, followed by CFC, followed by N2O. So the ordering question was there, both in paper one and paper two, right? This was there, I guess. Most of the people will agree that CO2 greater than methane, the contribution they would have asked, right? Greater than methane, greater than CFC and CFC, and then you have the N2O. This question was there, both of them, directly from the booklet. That was there. Yeah, it is a direct question where the contribution of greenhouse gases in global warming was asked. Then we didn't saw some special question from these, but yes, methane. It was asked from where it is emitted. So hydropower plant, that was in the first paper, not here, right? We didn't saw much of the questions from CFC this time in the depth because they were completely ignored, right? ODP was also ignored. Yes, there was a question over the nature of C3, C4 plant. Product wise, the first stable products are enzyme. It could be from the climate change side. It could be from, and that statement was there, which was given that the first stable product or C4 plant is phosphoglyceric acid. That was the wrong, right? And C4 is having more photorespiration as compared to C3. That was also a wrong statement in that question. We had a question over C3 and C4, which we consider in climate change only, though it can be purviewed from the side of ecology also, right? Then there was a question on C3, C4. Yeah, most of the things we just heard of. Ozone, I have already told you that there was a question over ozone chemistry, reactions within two, and all these things. Ozone depletion is also a part of the same. Third body reaction was also asked where they have specific questions over third body. Right, third body reaction where they ask specifically about the role of M of ozone, right? So that was there. Then they also ask some of the things that polluter pay principle, right? These things were there. Polluter pay principle. And other things were there from the climate change side. Right? So this was as expected thing from this side. One, not the abatement technology, but one numerical was there. If the velocity will be increased from 4 to 8 or 2 to 4, then how the ratio will change. That question was also there, right? So these were some of the questions which we saw that appear from the air pollution and climate change side. Then coming end to the first booklet, we had a question over analytical method where the sensitivity definition was asked. Analytical method that the change in the pollutant. So sensitivity was the word, right? Sensitivity definition was given, and they would be loving to hear the word sensitivity from you. That was the question from this, right? Coming to natural hazards, we had one questions over because we will go our study material way. So natural hazard, we were having one question in paper one where I guess earthquake was the answer. Geological natural hazard, right? Earthquake was the answer. Yes, that was there. Yeah. So this was from booklet one topic, right? Then we will go to the major units now that what was the question. But we tried to give you a good review that these were the question and people will definitely agree because they were present here, right? We are not just giving a superficial but depth conclusion that actually these were there if you will put a pressure on your brain to an extent, so definitely your memory will recall that these questions were there. Now we are coming to next big topic, right? Where we will hit the ecology. From ecology, quite a good number of questions was there, right? So we had a questions from ecology. We are going as per our units, how our institution divide the units. So from ecology, quite a good number of questions were there, right? And they were very much straightforward and direct. Like you need not to struggle a lot to answer that like last time. And in fact, they started putting the questions from initial part, right? And this question which is there in the productivity side also C3 C4 I have already told you, right? That I have already told you that it was there. Then we definitely had a question over the uh, ecological aspects were not up to the pyramid, but definitely we had a question over nitrogen cycle. Yes, nitrogen cycle. One question was there where they asked that which among the following is not the step of nitrogen cycle, and definitely you could have seen that they have given nitrification, denitrification, ammonification, right? And consumer assimilation and all these steps were given there. So we had a question on nitrogen cycle. Then after that, nitrogen cycle, it was basically from the steps of the nitrogen cycle. Then we had a question, depth question on succession, where they have even asked about the lichens, the types of lichens, dermatocarpone, right, etc. So lichen types and order of succession, right? They basically wants to ask about all the Ziraj type of succession where lichens were there, and you have to talk in terms of the lichens only that which are there, right? So I would say Ziraj was asked. Then after that, if you will see, then we saw not something special from biodiversity this time, but yes, if you see the importance of biodiversity, one question was there on wincristin and winblastin, which is a part of economic uh, sort of ecology, right? And the correct answer there was Catharanthus roseus, which is Vinca rosea, right? So it was first option, right? Catharanthus, Catharanthus roseus. It's quite a famous question, which is also known as Vinca rosea. But they have given us not given the uh, common name. They gave the scientific name. The teacher was actually smart there. So Wincristin, Winblastin or alkaloid question was there. So they asked this. Then nothing much from biodiversity this time. They completely, yes, projects were asked where they asked the chronological order, major conservation projects, where Project Tiger was there, major conservation projects they asked, right? Like Project Tiger, Project Hangul, Project Elephant, right? It was there. If you'll put the pressure on your brain, it was definitely there. And good number of questions. Project Tiger, Project Hangul. Yeah. So it was a mix of, like if you see na, it was a mix of PYQ, well mixed, but nobody writes in detailed solutions. We are the only people who write the detailed solution in depth. So if people have gone through those solutions in well depth, they would have easily come out with 70-75 question in it, right? So then you don't consider the paper to be tough. Once you are from the threshold above, then for you the paper was easy. But rest of the people who are struggling to find out from the minimum cutoff, then it becomes difficult. Nothing from other sides. Yes, one question from brood parasite, which cocoa was the example, right? Brood parasite. It was directly from your supplementary book. Brood parasite, cocoa, right? So brood parasite example was there. One of the only statement was cocoa story where it raises the it's of other, right? Nothing over these things. Then we do have not over the characteristics. We didn't have any questions over the characteristics, but yes, these things were asked like stenohaline, urihaline, right? It was a repetitive question. Stenohaline, which can have broad range of and salt tolerance, and urihaline was there, and other four on the same story like stenotrophic and eurytrophic. So it was just a testing. Okay, urihaline, then stenohydric, uryhydric, right? These terminology was there, and Gauss's law on competitive exclusion was one of the option there. And these were the things, yeah, they were having this kind of questions from there. Then from population dynamics, one question was there. Might be people are not considering this to be a question coming from the ecology, but I am considering it from the ecological side. If you ask me, there was a question, and I still remember the wordings. It can easily be done like they ask you that the population become 300 in 3 years, right? They ask you that initial population is 100, final population is 300, right? They ask you what is the growth rate after 3 years, right? If I am not wrong. So if you go from this trick that nt is equal to n naught e to the power rt and try to resolve it, 300, 100 e to the power r, t is 3. So if you solve it, you will definitely come out to be a nice answer, and you will get 0.362. That was one of the correct answer. But the story was like, if I have to compare that in terms of the growth per year, right? There the fate change, growth per year, right? They didn't say that they are growing exponentially. So growth per year, if I have to see, then it will be 300 minus 100, which comes out to be 200, right? So 200 upon 3 per year, it will comes out to be 66.67. And after that, you have to calculate it with respect to per person. So 100, then it will come out to be 0.667. I consider this method will be opted there, not the other one, because they neither said that it is an exponential growth, right? Which is rare in case of the human also. So that kind of question was there from the population growth side. If I'm not wrong, one question was there directly like that, right? Then nothing from the growth form, right? Nothing from the distribution and all. So basically, these were some of the questions. I guess 7, 8 they gather. 7 to 8 question ecology still managed, but not up to a mammoth task which it used to have earlier, right? So now we are moving towards the other big unit, which is basically soil. A lot of questions were not seen this time, especially from soil. Only a horizon question was there, soil horizon, and then they say Tata bye bye. The soil was quite in, like, I would say, quite sold in a very small prices. So definitely soil profile, one question was there, and it was a repetitive question earlier also. Soil profile and horizon, right? So soil horizon they have given. Yeah. So they have given, and it was simple. Like O, they have given OA, OE. So you could have easily arranged them, right? None other special thing I saw from soil there. Only this question was there, horizon question. So this time the soil is kept in dark with wall stuffs and all. So they were not given that much of aspects to come on, right? Then we do talk. Yeah, there was nothing special from the nutrient aspect also, right? I would simply say nutrient aspects also was ignored. Yes. Nothing in the depth of the soil, but just they superficially asked, sorry guys, horizon question, and then they simply say bye bye to soil. Then, yeah, soil was having a setback this time, not as much of the questions from soil, right? Yeah, guys, nothing special. Yes, small amount of question on acidic soil, I would say, but acidic soil, slight a simple question was there, right? Which they are given certain characteristics and they want to have what was there and how it is getting formed, right? All things, especially the reaction of aluminium, right? They have asked reaction of aluminum was there. Yeah, this was from the soil side. We didn't see much of the hope from soil, right? They definitely had a question where you could have seen that how the lowering of the pH of the, especially for the acidic soil, happens, that water added and all these things were there. But no big hopes from the soil this time. Radioactivity had a boom this time. Radioactivity came up with some 4 or 5 good questions this time and emerged out to be a bigger unit, radioactivity or nuclear chemistry. They give good number of questions this time. At least 5 questions. In fact, more than that, 6 I would say. So 5 or 6 question was there from this unit specifically, and the questions were not that much tough. Half of them were from previous year, and half of them from, like, recent one, right? So it was not that much difficult also, but yes, it was good questions were being asked from the same, right? So directly starting, they talked about the Fukushima 2011. Basically, the iodine was leaked there along with other substances. So one question was on Fukushima 2011. Right. What are the substances which were coming as a pollutant? Right. iodine, cesium, lead was the answers, and one we have to omit out of that. This was one of the question. Then after that, we saw plain numerical there, where the half-life was given and the correct answer could have been calculated, like they have asked you to calculate T half is equal to 0.693 by lambda. So this is disintegration constant, right? Or K also people say disintegration constant they could have asked to calculate, and 125 days was the half-life. So 0.693 upon 125. This way this calculation can be done in the easy manner. And if you do so, if you divide 693 by 125, it comes out to be 0.005, or percentage wise the answer was given. So that could be done. So this was one of the questions from radioactivity. Then after that, after so many time, the Lawson criteria was repeated. One of the question over Lawson criteria, right? Where they have asked about this thing that N into T is equal to 10 to the power 21 ions per cubic centimeter, right? And simply you have to just, N was given. So T you have to calculate it, and I guess it came out to be 0.5 millisecond, if I'm not wrong. Right, was the coming answer. It was the first choice. So pre-question, then from radioactivity. These 3 to 4 questions were there for sure. Nothing from fission or fusion side. But definitely that one more question was there, where they saw the calculation from the environmental chemistry style calculation was being asked, right? But these 3 questions were short there, but definitely 4 to 5 questions they have made. Like the radioactivity was also to be a good unit this time. Nobody was expecting that 5 question or 4 question it will give, right? So definitely was out to be a good unit this time. Okay. Yes, one was mineral, right? Minerals which were radioactive. And it was one of the hinted question. Monazite was there, and only one of the option which is having monazite along with a pair. So that was the correct answer. People could have easily grabbed this question. Earlier was also, it was in the PYQ, the monazite question. So you could have easily grab it, right? Yeah, this was from the side of radioactivity. I guess 5 to 6 question they grab, but suddenly out of nowhere it came out to be the win-win situation, right? For the radioactivity, like suddenly it rose to a 6 question weightage. Then comes the unit of the exam, I would say mineral and rock, which basically shake everyone and suddenly change the expression of the students in the exam hall, that how come the earth science will be so important. But mineral and rock was the unit of today, I would say. Mineral and rock basically surprise everyone, where we had a lot of question, I would say. It definitely, the tally, once the real paper will come out, The tally will definitely touch to 7, 8, or even 10. Also indirectly, if we say. So if I will go directly, they basically ask you about the one of the question, the very first with the table which I do, they ask you that which among the following is having mafic, maximum mafic content. And one of the diagram on page number 133 of our booklet, all the example were taken from that picture only, right? All the examples were taken from that picture where they have specifically chosen the example. Let me tell you the example also because I was very surprised. They gave one example of peridotite, which was in ultramafic having maximum. Then they give an example of basalt, which was in mafic category. Then they give example of two of the intermediate, where they give example of dacite and andesite, right? And in last, they give the example of an acidic rock, which was rhyolite. Not ही था, right? And then we have rhyolite. So this was one of the question, and the order could be like this. If you ask about the content of mafic iron magnesium, right? This was the first question, right? So this was their very first question. Then they also give you the that weathering style question, which I always talk about, but I will come talk about that into the series, not here. Then they ask about a question specifically from the coal side, but the carbon content, that was like metamorphism question only, right? But this question was a bit direct. Then they also ask a question about a sedimentary rock, right? That how they are formed, how the materials are carried, right? What are the processes? One question was from sedimentary rock also there. Then we also do saw the questions over the chemical nature where the limestones and the carbonates were given and all other things were given. The chemical nature where the limestone was one of the option and other minerals were also given. But definitely a huge bombardment had happened from the side of uh, mineral and rock, which surprised students entirely. Then they do ask the question from oil traps, right? Oil traps, where limestone traps were asked, right? Sand, salt sand stuff was asked. So that was one of the question. Then there is a question from the silicate table. And the table used to say these all necrite, right? Then we do have this lysaderite, simectite, montomornolite, where the silicate table is there. So there was one question from silicate, that which of the following is not a silicate, right? So all such examples were given there, right? Phyllosilicates were also asked, right? But mineral and rock definitely had an impression this time. I would surely say they actually surprised the students. Students were not expecting that many questions from mineral and rock. They also ask one of the questions of matching, where they do ask about the other minerals like oxides, sulfates, carbonates, silicates, right? The table which is given on page 148 or booklet, that there was a question from that also. That table about oxides, right? Then they give sulfates, carbonates, match the following sort of questions. Types of mineral, I would say that. But I am sure that when the actual uh, example came out, definitely the tally of this will go to 8 to 9. That they ask about the question, where they ask about this thing. Yeah, they ask a question that which about the following mineral will dissolve. So solubility of mineral, they ask one question. Right, solubility of mineral was also targeted. Right. Then definitely one question, as I was saying you. Then there was a question on cyclosilicates. Right, cyclosilicate was targeted. Then there was a question, as I was saying you people in my class, on Golditch weathering or stability. So Golditch series was asked where they gave option. So Golditch weathering series was asked where olivine, pyroxene, amphibole, potassium feldspar, muscovite quartz were given. So Golditch weathering series, right, was asked. Golditch weathering series was there. Yeah, but definitely 7 to 8 question and good questions were asked from mineral and rock. So this unit actually surprised people in today's exam, and that was the reason because environment science students, they not too much of geological aspects are added, right? Inclination is not towards the geological aspects, but definitely the good student do pay attention to this, right? And you should, because the PYQ, lot of question was from that side. So that would have people. Now comes the next unit, which is basically energy. So energy had a healthy balance. Some 7 to 8 question was there, which was on good number, like as far as the energy is seen, and right from the page 1, the booklet, like this was in at which uh, of the gas is produced, or greenhouse gas is produced during which of the energy. So hydropower, this was in paper 1. Hydropower was the correct answer, right? If you are remembering it, hydropower was the correct answer. They asked the hydropower this time, but in paper 1. But question is a question if it is coming from the subject side. Then they do ask from one numerical from solar power. I would say that was the easy one. But people were confused at how to calculate it. But my dear, that was a direct question. It like they have given the current in the terms of ampere per meter square, current per unit area, right? Ampere, let us suppose x ampere per meter square, and they have given the voltage, right, in volt. Let us suppose 5 volt or something, and then they given area also, and the answer came out to be 0.45 watt for this question. It was just a simple question. You could have easily done, and the formula used was power is equal to I into V. You just used to multiply them, right? Nothing else. But people were literally a bit confused about this question, that how we can deal this stuff. But it was a simple question, and those people who have done the PYQ, they could have easily won this. There are one question radical from solar. They have not asked anything on semiconductor. Only one question was there from solar. Alternative fuel had a boom this time. Alternative fuel से काफी questions आपको दिखे हैं, especially biodiesel, ethanol, methanol, right? But they were from PYQ types only. Methanol, like grain alcohol, they asked this time, right? And biodiesel, they asked which reaction. Natural gas, there they have touched upon. Thermal efficiency question directly from the booklet. That hydrogen is having high heating value, HHV value. HHV value arrange the following. Hydrogen is maximum, followed by CNG, followed by natural gas. This table was once again there, followed by biodiesel, right? This question was there, followed by ethanol, methanol. So this is every time there, but definitely this was one of the question. We had a question over biogas also, where they ask about the production and the component. Coal was also having a question, right? Coal, they ask the carbon content, right? And options were given in terms of anthracite, subbituminous, peat, cannel coal, and brown coal, right? If I'm not wrong. Coal, they asked one question, which was easy to doable question, right? Then they ask a question over the fuel energy, like they gave you the gaseous fuel and wood was one of the option. Like last time they gave energy of the fuel types, energy of the fuel type order, right? Like we had in January, one question was there. OTEC was not asked this time because last time they asked OTEC. Tidal was also neglected. Then the wind energy, simple numerical was there. It was a simple to do numerical was there. Half of KCP rho AV KCP was given 40%, and the correct answer was somewhere 5 kilowatt, if I am not wrong. Right, somewhere 5 kilowatt it will come. Wind energy, one question was there. Geothermal, nothing was there. Then we had a question on oil trap. So petroleum was being asked in terms of the oil trap, right? Oil traps, limestone and sandstone, these are the oil traps. Then we didn't saw much from something was there from the octane rating of biodiesel. Octane rating of biodiesel. These are some of the questions which came from the side of energy. Some 7 to 8 they definitely picked up, right? But not like much till last time. Last time there was the quantity was much bigger, right? Now let's talk about the other unit, which is statistics, which is also a big unit. So statistics also have. So there was a simple comprehension passage, right, where 5 questions were there, and it was a like 2 year before there was a passage on cancer regarding statistics. This time also it was vitamin D deficiency and sunlight. And the first question answer was 70%, where 500 and 350 was the data. So they asked that what is the percentage. Then multilinear regressions and other things were also asked, right? So 5 questions I would say from this side, direct. Then there was a repeated question of like median, percentile, decile, median, percentile, decile, what they denote. Then we had that famous question of standard normal distribution Z value. Like I last time also there was a question, Z value question, that mean is 0 and standard deviation variance is 1. And we also had a question over the test, like chi-square, z-test, ANOVA, test matching type question. Question was there. Less calculative stuff was there, right? Not like much of the width was given. One question of covariance was there, but that was in first paper, not into the second paper. The first paper was given the weightage of that covariance question. Right, but altogether, if you see 8-9 question was there from statistics as usual, because the passage were from statistics. Then coming to environmental chemistry, yes, we had quite a good numbers this time from here. Environmental chemistry, at least a total of 5, right, questions was there from environmental chemistry. Starting from the simpler one, there was this ratio, partition coefficient ratio question was there in ether and ethanol, where a small calculation was given. Then we had a question over ppn ppb, which I already showed to you. Ppm, the conversion of those SO2 gas, ppm of SO2. That is from this side also, environmental chemistry also, and air pollution also. One question from there. Then we had Henry's law, all the statement of Henry's law and its constant. Henry's law was there. Then we also saw a question from PE. We saw a question from PE and its PE values question, conceptual question over there, PE value, right? It was there. Then one question over Gibbs free energy was there, and all other stuff. One question on Gibbs free energy where the statements were given and you could have simply answered that. That was there. Then if you go back, yes, most probably 5 to 6 question was there, and 2 of them were technical and rest of them were non-technical. Then coming to noise, there was one question from noise, which was mixture of PYQ questions, where they have asked the disadvantages of the certain things and how the intensity is related to the radius. So intensity, basically, so you people know that intensity is R square y is proportional. So that statement was given that I is proportional to 1 by R. So this is a wrong statement, right? It was there. And then they asked the relationship with the pressure also, right? Then coming to the minor topics, we do saw a question from Lotka-Volterra model this time also. We do saw a question from Lotka-Volterra model this time, where these are some of the miscellaneous type. Lotka-Volterra, one question was there, model. Right, statement based only, that about prey and predator. Like last time also we had one question over Lotka-Volterra model, if you ask me. Then if you say one question from geostropic wind from the dynamic side, geostropic wind. Then we also saw one question from bioremediation, where biostimulation definition was asked, right? So one question from that side. These are minor topics which didn't catch the much of the weightage in today's exam, but definitely every question is important. We cannot ignore them, because for the next time the target should be that these are the topics which are basically getting edges, right, in the exam, and we have to be very much thorough. Natural hazard, the question was in paper 1. Then yes, we remediation was there, noise done. Then we should also discuss that EIA and municipal solid waste, right? So municipal solid waste had a couple of questions, right? One question was on the technical aspect of landfill liner, numerical. This was a new question, right? This was a new question. Never ever they have asked this. Then the same, the gases, sorry, the steps of degradation of waste in landfill. Last time also it was there. Then we also had the calorific value of different waste. We also saw the definition of, so we also saw the examples of hazardous waste as per ICRA. So hazardous waste examples, right? That was there. So in total, 5 to 6 question was there, right? So quite a good number of questions were from municipal solid waste. Then coming to EIA and the law side. So if you come to EIA and law, almost the uh, previous year was there from EIA and law. Like one question was there, like which category of projects do not require EIA. So B2 do not need EIA. It was there. We had the question of last time repeated question of January 2026, Batley Columbus, and other metrics was there, right? Batley Columbus and other type of metrics which was there. So the same question was repeated, like it was a matching type question this time. Earlier it was not the matching type, right? Then they ask about the steps of the EIA. You have to arrange in the order steps of the EIA, right? So some four to five question was there, right? Law, one question which I saw about the EPA 1986, right? So they asked me that EPA 1986, whether it is which provision it have come under, right? Such kind of questions they have put, whether it is 48A or 51AG. So it was there. So in last, we would like to conclude that it is a overall paper was moderate to difficult. Overall paper was moderate to difficult. We can see a dip in cutoff. Dip in cutoff is expected because of heavy rush of these earth and environmental science questions and some of the questions which are from nowhere sort of thing. So dip is 1 to 2% only, not much. I am not saying that it will be much because the seats are limited. So if you have to take out a cutoff, then it will be like uh, the things like we have to stick to the plan. Then if you somebody ask you to rate that what it was consist of, right? So I would say the June 2026 paper, if you will take it to a mixture of few things, so I would say it was 60 to 70% PYQ, not directly but indirect way, right? See, few questions were straightforward, but not everyone the statements were changed. I can judge that. But those who have done, but PYQ only you cannot hold. So like option wise, you have to have the detailed explanation, which not everyone is writing, right? Our team only is working from last 17 years for them. So that's why the people are getting benefit out of it, right? Might be the people are writing, but superficially. So, and we are putting that from like previous year also on YouTube. People would have seen that. So 60 to 70% was PYQ if you would have done from with all the logics and explanation from 2026 till 2010 or 12, which is a 14 to the 28 papers almost, right? Then if you ask me, rest of the 10 to 15%, or I would say rest of the 20% of the paper, was core conceptual with lengthy statement. So that is just testing your reading skills, whether you are reading the options right or not. Right. So 20% of the paper was lying there. Then in last, you were having the last 10% paper, which was definitely a fresh paper, I would say. Fresh questions were there, which were not seen any of the year. I can say you from last 16 to 17 year of experience, because I have been teaching since 2010. So fresh questions, not seen like that liner question, right? Numerical and how hydraulic conductivity is impacting the landfills. These are not questions which are for like seen anywhere. So these were fresh questions. Some 10 questions were really fresh, not seen in NTA in past. So that basically was a concluding remark that how the paper was phrased out. But our job was to take out the marks from this. If you'd have done justice here, if you'd have done justice here, you are selected. Right? If you just cross 75 questions out of 100, right? So you are in. Nothing special about that. But if you have done justice with this, then you are in. Forget about the fresh shots which are added, right? But anyways, now we are looking forward for the December 2026 exam. The next target is December 2026 exam, because past is past. We cannot do anything for that, right? So next is 2026, and we are entirely gear up for that. Hope you people are also ready. The batches will begin from 5th of July 2026, because now the depth is at different level and we have to work accordingly, right? So this was the entire review from our side, and we also accepted that this is a memory based review, not the actual paper was with us, but it will give an idea to the student that what are the things which were there and how the paper was constructed, right? So this was the effort from A.S.S Science Foundation team. Hope the community will appreciate it and it will be useful for them for the future exams which are about to happen. Thank you.